This is Module 6, Lesson 19. This is Concept Development. So I want you to look at these two. This is our application problem that we just did. And here is the chart, the coordinate plane that we're looking at in our problem set. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at these two graphs. How are these coordinate planes, how are they different from one another? From the other ones that we've looked at. How is this one different from this one? Well, the X and Y axes have labels and different units on them. So look at here. This one is recording feet to yards. This one here counts by intervals of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this goes by ones. Let's look here by yards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now, let's look at this chart. It shows this is age in months. This right here is weight in pounds. So look at the way the intervals are broken up here. So it looks like it goes 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. So these are months. Now let's look at weight. Oh, look at this. It starts at 0 and it goes something 20, something 40, something 60. So it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. This is weight in pounds. So the difference between this one and this one, well, one is a straight line. The new one is not a straight line. A coordinate plane can be used to show a set of data like you see here in the form of a line graph. This line graph is about a pet dog named Fido. What information is this line graph showing us? So what is it actually showing us? What are we supposed to learn from this data graph? What do you think? Look at it. What are you supposed to learn from this? Well, first of all, how much Fido weighs at certain ages, right? His Fido's weight. This graph shows the weight of a German Shepherd, Fido, over a period of time. What information is shown on the x-axis? So what information is shown on this x-axis? Well, it shows Fido's age. What unit is being used to show Fido's age? Well, it's labeled every 4 months, right? So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. But it's actually labeled at every 4 months. The grid squares split up the x-axis into units of 2 months. Here's 2, 4, 6, 8, right? What is shown on the y-axis here? And in what unit? Look, what is it showing us? It's showing us Fido's weight in pounds. And then look here, how is this labeled? It's each 20 pounds is labeled. So they didn't label it by tens, they actually labeled it by 20s, right? So each 20 pounds is labeled. The grid squares split up the y-axis into units of 10, but they're labeled at units of 20. So look at the data contained in the graph. What can you learn about Fido's weight by looking at the graph? What do you notice? Okay, at 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 16 months, 20 months, 24 months, 28 months. What are you noticing? Look down here. Look at the origin. So at 0, which means at birth, right? At birth, he weighed about 1 or 2 pounds when he was born, and then he started gaining weight really fast. So Fido gained until he was about 20 months. Like he kept gaining until he was about 20 months old, and then he stopped. Then he just remained kind of constant, right? So Fido weighed about as much as maybe a fifth grader does at 1 year old. Now, according to the graph, Fido weighed about 1 pound maybe or 2 about at birth. How much weight did Fido gain during the first 4 months of his life? So how much weight? If he was at about 1 or 2 pounds, and in the first 4 months he was at 30 pounds, how much weight did he gain in the first 4 months? Well, possibly 29 or 28 pounds, because he started at 1 or 2 pounds and then his weight increased. It reached 30 pounds at 4 months. So the difference between his 4-month weight and his birth weight is like 28 or 29 pounds. So do you see how we're using the information to tell us kind of a story? So about how much did Fido weigh at 8 months? So you're going to follow this up. Now there's 50, and this looks like it's in the middle between 50 and 60. Right? So maybe about 55 pounds. So how can you find out how much weight Fido gained between the age of 4 months and 8 months? Can you find the difference about how much he gained from here to here? From 4 months to 8 months. How much did he gain? Well, how could you find out? You could subtract 30 pounds from 55 pounds. You could count up from 30 pounds. You could count up. You could find the difference between his weights at those ages. So he gained 25 pounds between 4 months and 8 months. So did Fido gain more weight in the first 4 months of his life or the second 4 months of his life? So here's the first 4 months of his life. Here's the second 4 months of his life. Well, he went from 1 pound to about 30. That's like 29 pounds, right? And then 30 to 55. So which one's more? Well, the first 4 months. Well, about how much more? 3 or 4 more pounds. So compare the segment that shows the change from 0 to 4 months, 0 to 4 months, with the segment that shows the change from 4 months to 8 months. Compare them. What do you think? What do you notice? What is the trend? Well, I'm sure you're saying they're a lot alike. Both lines go up, but the line from 0 to 4 months is a little steeper. The triangles that have these segments as their longest sides right? They're different. The one I see for 0 to 4 months has a height of almost 3 units. 1, 2, 3, almost 3 units, right? And the one I see from 4 to 8 months, so here's 1, 2, maybe a half. The height of this triangle, do you see that? The difference in the heights of the triangles? 1, 2, 3 versus 2 and maybe a half. The one I see from 4 to 8 months has a height of 2.5. So tell me how much weight Fido gained during the remaining 4-month increments on the chart. So if we're here, we went 0 to 4, then we went 4 to 8, 8 to 12, right? And then 12 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 24, 24 to 28. So think about it, write it down. I want you to figure out, what do you notice about the trend? What do you notice about the trend in the steepness? All right, well, we know that Fido gained more weight from birth to 4 months than he did from 4 months to 8 months. So what do you notice about the two segments joining these points? The segments joining these points. The segment for the first 4 months is steeper because he gained more weight. So it's steeper because he gained more weight, right? All right. Explain what happens to Fido's weight and the line on the graph between 20 months and 28 months. What's going on? So, what do you think? So Fido's weight stays the same and the line doesn't change. It just goes straight across. Do you notice that? Fido's weight remains constant, so the line is horizontal. The line becomes horizontal to show that his weight is unchanging. So his weight is unchanging during that time. So in this case, Fido's weight stayed the same. Hopefully you're seeing that the steepest increase in weight happened at 0 to 4 months. So it's his growth starts slowing down, right? So can you make a prediction about what this line graph might look like if we could see the next 28 months of Fido's life? Could you use this graph to find out what happens in the next 28 months? You actually cannot. We can only look at the information or the data that's provided for the amount of time that we've been provided. So we can't really tell from this information. His weight might just keep staying the same. So he's full grown at 2 years old. But what if Fido gets sick? He might start losing weight a bit, but there's no way to know. A lot of things could happen. He could not exercise very much and then he could gain weight. Or what if, terrible to say, but what if he ran away and had a hard time finding food and lost more weight? So the big idea with this is all of you right now, this is only a snapshot of the first 28 months. We have no way of knowing what would come next because the information is not provided for us. So this line graph simply shows us what Fido's weight was at these specific times in his life. We can't predict how or if Fido's weight will change in the future without more information than what is contained in the graph. So we can only use this graph to talk about these months and how much weight. So really and truly, that's the big idea for today. That's our objective. Can you plot data on a line graph and analyze the trends? So what we just did was analyze the trends by looking, look, we kind of looked at the slope here, right? This went up by almost 3. This one went up by 2.5. So we started using strategies that we were using in lesson 16, 17, and 18 to help us analyze trends in this graph. All right, so you are ready for the problem set. The problem set is you're going to analyze the data, time versus rainfall, answer the questions. Here, you're going to do the same thing, but this is going to be month versus the fuel gauge. A fuel gauge is how much fuel you have in your car. It tells you, hopefully your mom or dad doesn't let it get down to empty very often. So this is the Boyd's monthly fuel usage. How much fuel are they using in a month? So this is January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So this is a 1 year. Somebody was tracking. Oh, this is when it was full. The fuel gauge was full. This is when it was empty. So it looks like they're pretty responsible there. Then you have your exit ticket and your homework. Don't forget, this is your sprint. Whatever you didn't finish does become part of the homework. All right, that will do it for module 6, lesson 19, concept development.